First, let's pay homage to the lineage gurus. Homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming. Homage to Master Sakya Zhengkong. Homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa. And homage to Master Dubdan Dorji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of Homa today, the High King Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. Simu, Danchen Gatso, all Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, all disciples present here and over the internet. Good afternoon. How do you do? So, that group of spirits from last night, they asked for empowerments. They requested. So I purified them. And during the marriage dedication just now, I already prayed to High King Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva to grant empowerments upon them and guide them to be reborn into the Buddha lands. Oh, I have not announced the VIPs. The rep from Taipei to Sweden and Norway, the ambassador Dong Zhou Liao and his wife, Dharma Sister Judy. Accountant to Buddha Foundation, Dharma Sister Teresa. The advisor to Overseas Chinese Republic of China, Ms. Winnie She. And the president of Natural Greenland, Dharma Brother Tuan. And from Wisconsin, Dr. Liu and his wife. Would like to announce for next Sunday, January 5th, 2020. That's after the New Year. So next Sunday, January 5th, after the New Year's Day, Sunday at 3 p.m., there will be Medicine Buddha Homa fire offering ceremony. So Vaisaya Guru or the Medicine Tathagata, and we all know about his mudra and his radiating blue light. Because Medicine Buddha from the lapis lazuli realm, and the color of lapis lazuli is blue. The mantra. That's the mantra of the Medicine Tathagata. And his mudra is the 5-color radiating mudra, and this other one with 2 hands clasping like this. This mudra. And the medicine Buddha Homa is very important. I hope you all can become primary supplicants because health is necessary in a human life. So only by having good health that your life would be colorful. Without health, your life would be black and white. So, the same statement, if you don't need any good health, you don't wish to be healthy, then you don't need to become primary supplicants. I welcome all of you to become the primary supplicants. For next Sunday, that's after the New Year's Day. So, for Gregorian calendar, this is the last Homa of the year 2019, right? I have to remember one thing. What is it? There was a ghost witch from the past who kept talking about Grandmaster Lu for 10 years that he would die at 73. But it's extremely unfortunate. It's truly unfortunate that what happened, that I have lived past 73 and I live past 74 and 75. And I will be 76. So that's truly unfortunate. To commemorate this event at the New Year's time, I would ridicule her. Therefore, don't just believe what people say to you. And please don't be fanatical, don't be superstitious, because our faith has to be very rational. She had told many people that they would die at a certain age, but they still continue those ages. Just any example, like someone from Perth, Australia, the Yansi chapter there, the head of the chapter, husband and wife, they're still living on. Well, they haven't died. And then the Venerable Lien Ying and his family are still living fine. She kept talking about this and that person will die at a certain age, but they still lived on. But those that she did not say would die have died. So in our faith and belief, don't say that someone would die at a certain time, because they use that to threat you, to blackmail you, and to force you into paying her or to have her do homa or other ceremony and want a huge amount of money. It is better that you just chant hiking Avalokitesvara Sutra. By chanting the sutra yourself, you would be able to resolve the severe calamities and you can escape many disasters. So you can change your own destiny. You don't need to rely on other people, especially someone that asks a lot of money. It's tens of thousands of dollars. If it's Indonesian rupiah, it's okay, but it's US dollars. It's okay if I give you 100,000 in Indonesian rupiah or even a million, no problem. But she asked for US dollars. If you give her Indonesian rupiah, you would have been beaten by her. So don't believe her lightly. She's been talking about me for 10 years. The whole mainland China and everybody abroad knows that Grandmaster would die at 73. But no, it didn't happen. I'm even healthier than before. So this year I'm 27. So in your religion or belief, you want to be rational. And Grandmaster observed the descent of hiking Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. It was real. It was truthful. I don't dare to lie. When I formed the offering mudra, and Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva descended and entered into my body through my apex. So I am speaking truthfully here. No lies, or as spiritual cultivator, we don't lie or fabricate things. So I need to remember that at around New Year's Day, I want to say do re mi to her. I'm not ridiculing her, but I'm teaching everybody to have a wise belief. In your belief and religion, you cannot be superstitious. You have to use your wisdom to think. You have to be wise. There are many prediction and premonition that's not necessarily correct. Like even the ghost is able to predict something or to prophesy something, but they only have minuscule power. Like saying that the earth god was waiting for her for 500 years. Earth god has no power to live to be 500 years. And yet she claimed that that particular earth god had been waiting for her for 500 years, so that's dog poo. Of all the gods, the earth god is the smallest one. They're just the leader of a local area. And he may have done some goods and take care of the village or the area. And that's all the scope that they have. So they had no ability to predict 500 years before or 500 years after. So the ranks of the gods, I'm very clear how big of a scope they are able to know. So gods typically have greater power and ghosts have smaller power. So the prediction of the ghosts can only be about the present moment, not about major events or about other times. And Earth God is slightly better than the ghosts. So therefore, we really have to know this. Please don't be so superstitious and believe anything. Like she claimed that she could communicate with the spider, with all kinds of animals. That's saying the elephant was waiting for her for 500 years. And the spider was waiting for its brother for who knows how long. She brought someone to enter into a presidential suite, and they were just checking out the suite, and there was a spider falling from the ceiling, and she claimed, well, the spider is your brother, and it's been waiting for you for a long time. How could the spider has transcendental power knowing someone is about to come and waiting for him? So the spider had the premonition that his past brother is about to bring the ghost witch to come into a certain room, so the spider had to know which room and crawl all the way to that particular room. And the spider also could predict that when the door was to be opened so that he could drop from the ceiling at that moment. And the spider could even know about past lives. Even human beings cannot, and even a bodhisattva would not know about your past lives, that you were a bodhisattva in the past life. Even for bodhisattvas don't know. Anybody knows what your past lives were? You knew for yourselves. Human beings and all beings don't have this power to know about their past lives. How could a tiny spider would know about brother from his past life that's about to come at that particular moment, at that particular place? So in Taiwanese, it's called bullshit. In Taiwanese, we often say this, hulong or hulan. So it's very obvious, right? The elephant was waiting for her for 500 years, and then the 萤火虫. The fireflies. She went to New Zealand next to Australia, and there was a dark cave, and then you ride on a boat and went to see the fireflies. And then she claimed that the fireflies had been waiting for her for 110,000 years. 110,000 years. And then check on your cell phone how long a firefly lived for. Only 20 days. So that's like a great grandpa told to the great grandpa to the grandpa to the grandpa to the grandpa to the pa to the son for a total of 110,000 years that they eventually came to see the ghost switch. Could such things ever happen? That the firefly kept passing the words for 110,000 years. What era would that be? And the history of China is only for 5,000 years. And India also only had about 5 to 6,000 years. The old civilizations, China, India, Babylon, and Egypt, the four civilized civilization. And before this, we don't even know if human beings exist. However, the fireflies have been waiting for 110,000 years. If I were there hearing she boasted like that, I would have pushed her off the boat. You try to boast to me. Firefly's been waiting for you for 110,000 years? That's your mother good. So you can be blowing horns, blowing the horns of the ox or the horse, but for the fireflies, oh my God. My blood pressure would rise just talking about her. Fine, we'll just talk about hiking Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. If I continue talking about her, I would drop all my teeth. So hiking Avalokitesvara Sutra was the first sutra, the first Buddhist sutra I ever encountered. I also chant hiking Avalokitesvara Sutra. And what are the benefits? Inside the sutra, they are all just the epithets of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. There is nothing to nitpick about. So the sutra is a sutra transmitted in a dream by the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas told that person, and that person recorded it. The meaning of the sutra is extremely profound. All the karma work of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are inside the sutra. So, listen to it. Namo, pure light, secret Buddha. What does it mean? That this Buddha can radiate a pure secret light. That's the first Buddha. The second Buddha, the Dharma treasury Buddha. That the Dharma is hidden inside this Buddha, and that's bodhicitta. This bodhicitta is in this Buddha. And then the tranquil King Buddha with lion's roar and divine speed. So lion's roar is when you transmit Buddha Dharma like the roar of a lion, and with the divine speed. With one thought, he would arrive at wherever it is. So that's the work of a Buddha, that he has the transcendental travel and the lion's roar. That's his work. The next one, Dharma Protector Buddha. This Buddha used the Buddha Dharma to protect sentient beings. That's his work. And then the Sumeru Light King Buddha announced by Buddha. So what kind of Buddha is this? He has so many Dharma thrones. In the Sumeru Light King Buddha, he is great like Mount Sumeru, can radiate very brilliant light. And all the Dharma thrones of the Tathagatas are there. That's his work. He's like Sumeru at the center, very tall, radiating bright light like the lights. Dharma Protector Buddha, Vajra Treasury, Roaming Lion Buddha. So attaining Buddhahood is like playing the game. Once you become a Buddha, you're just playing around the samsara. And that's the playful Buddha. He has self-mastery, so therefore he can play around in samsara with self-mastery. That's his work. Every day he's very happy. He has great self-mastery. So this playful Buddha, I can chant it myself. You mix. The precious victory Buddha. I have to start from the beginning. I cannot just in the middle. You know, when you memorize, that's how it is. If you just pick one in the center, you cannot memorize. But if you memorize from beginning, then you can do it, right? It's the same thing with my sutra chanting. That each of the Buddha symbolizes something. And then the supernatural power Buddha, Fahu, the medicinal crystal light King Buddha, and supernatural power Buddha is a Buddha that manifests transcendent power to salvage sentient beings. But this transcendent Buddha, you know, please don't mix it up with Ghost Witch showing some supernatural power. For her, it's a ghost power. And in Japanese, ghost is oni. It's the oni supernatural power, ghost supernatural power. And that's very low class and dirty. So the power that's so dirty, like poo. But a lot of people still like the poo. Poo or poop. A lot of people still like it. So this transcendental power Buddha, all Buddhas have this transcendental power. As long as he's a Buddha or Bodhisattva, they would have transcendental power. However, anyone with transcendental power or supernatural power is not necessarily a Buddha or Bodhisattva. just a normal God has some supernatural power. Oh, so you showed me the sutra. I don't need it. So what's written inside the sutra, they're all the work of the Tathagatas. They are on their names, on their epithets. If you are very familiar and can memorize it, and if you can chant for 1,000 times, but for me, I don't count anymore. I always chant when I drive, but don't copy it, okay? If you chant hiking Kuan Yin Sutra when you drive, then you would drive through a red light. That would be my responsibility. I can be single-minded or dual-minded because I memorize. And then the invocation of the 8 great bodhisattvas. So the 8 great bodhisattvas invocation. And then you chant the hiking Avalokitesvara and then the merit dedication. I'm very familiar, right? I can memorize it. But if you just pick one, cannot continue. I can memorize it backward too. The 8 great bodhisattvas Avalokitesvara, Manjushri, Maitreya. That's the last part. So I recited it backward from the end to the beginning, from the beginning to the end. So the hiking Avalokitesvara is very responsive, and he's helped Grandmaster too. So memorize it and chant it at any time. And you continue to chant even when you exceed 1,000 times or 10,000 times. And in the future you would have attainments. And I said Hanifa's mother chanted this. She had huge sariras. I didn't bring that here. I didn't bring it here. I should show you. Hers are beautiful. I really like them. And her father also chanted hiking Kuan Yin Sutra, also had sariras. And they only chanted the Grandmaster Root Guru Mantra and hiking Kuan Yin Sutra. If you persevere in your chanting, and you have the willpower and perseverance. So the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas always speak truthfully. How could it be so easy? By completing 1,000 times, the death would become alive. I never skip a day. Every time I drive, and she's talking to me, and I would tell her, please, I want to chant. Every time I drive, even with her, I always chant. Every day. I don't only chant when I drive, I also chant when I do things. Whatever I do, I always chant. Every time I think of it, I would chant. I would chant it until it's so familiar. I chant it in Taiwanese. If it's in Chinese, it's not that smooth, but in Taiwanese, very smooth. Because I am a Taiwanese. So he's the Dharma Prince of the 7 Buddhas. He has tremendous power. So this hiking Avalokitesvara is extremely great. Above his head there are 7 Buddhas. So he has tremendous power. If you chant his name or epithet, that you would never fall into the 3 lower realms. Today, let's continue to talk about Lamdre. The 5 starts of affinities. The 5 starts of affinity, the foundation, the boundary, the basic nature, the members of the 4 paths and the members of the 4 capacities, the perfection path generated, the outer, inner, secret, suchness, and ultimate. Of the 2 vehicles, the wisdom vehicle or prajnayanas, practice of purifying the nature of the mind, And the secret vehicle, the Tantrayana's practice of arising to awakening and realization by the accumulative affinity of the body, the following instruction belongs to the latter one. Let me recite. The instructions on the path of the 5 starts of affinity are divided into 7 sections. 1. What is the foundation of the accumulative affinity? 2nd, what is the boundary of the start of the affinity? 3rd, what is the intrinsic nature of the start of the affinity? 4th, what is the complementary aspect of the 4 paths? 5th, what is the complementary aspect of the 4 measurements? 6th, the lists of the start of affinity. And 7th, the one start of affinity that arises to the completion path. They are all titles, and one by one will be explained later. So what it meant here that everything is a start of affinity. So in the Prajnayana or Mahayana, the wisdom vehicle, it talk here about Prajnayana or Mahayana. Is the practice of purifying the nature of the mind. And the second is Tantrayana or the secret vehicle. And the following instructions belongs to the latter one, which is the Tantrayana or the secret vehicle. So it talks about the start of affinity of the Tantrayana, the secret mantra chanting, the start of affinity to the secret chanting of mantra. And Prajnayana is the Mahayana. So in the Hiking Kuan Yin Sutra, it was mentioned that Mahaprajna Paramita is a great mantra, is a secret mantra, is a great wisdom mantra, is a great spiritual mantra, and unequal mantra, and a supreme mantra. And the mantra of the 7 Buddhas is considered to be the secret yana or Tantrayana. So first, what is the foundation of the cumulative affinity? The verse stated, by relying on a supreme body. This statement refers to the foundation of the accumulative affinity, which relies on the completely pure and flawless 4 altars. And the fault of the channels rise to be the flames, atrophy, wilt, or wither. The fault of the channel seeds is hoarseness, stammer, or stutter. The fault of the area ambrosia is fatigue, weak body, etc. And the fault of the qi is blindness, deafness, etc. So it has to be free from these flaws and faults. Otherwise, the relied channels, seeds, qi, and bodhicitta, etc., accumulated as failures. It will not generate meditation, and then the abiding mind is also a failure. So, what is the foundation of the accumulative affinity? The verse stated, by relying on the supreme body. So the body of a secret mantra, the most important start of affinity is the body. And the supreme body means that the body is extremely supreme. Everyone's body is supreme because in reality our bodies are altars of the Buddhas. Then of course it is supreme. So it's said here. So the completely pure and flawless 4 altars. So your body has no faults or flaws. Why do we refer it as the flawless four altars? The body is the altar, and being flawless is, and the pure four altars are the channel altar, the channels are the altar, the ambrosia is the altar, the chi is the altar, and the bodhicitta. So the channels, the seeds, the ambrosia, the chi, and the bodhicitta, they're all altars. They are the four altars. So if your body is a supreme body, which means your four altars are complete and perfect, then your start of affinity is very good. But if your four altars are bad or faulty, then the fault of the channels is the flames. Of course, this is not inner fire. This is a bad flame. So that your channels already suffering from atrophy or withering or decline, or the channels already decayed or declined. Like old people have no saliva, they have dry mouth, and you don't have any more enzyme in your stomach, so that has dried out. You have no more water in your kidneys, no more insulin, so the channels all have dried up, so have wilted and atrophy. So you were very tall and big, but now you shrink. And you were lively, and now you shrink. Those were all the faults. And the faults of the channel seeds, like being burned by fire. The fault of the seeds being hoarse and stuttering. Of course, you cannot chant mantra like that. That's stuttering. Well, of course, there would be a fault. You cannot chant mantra like that. So you chant Om Saraswatiye Soha. Om Mahaprati Salo Soha. Om Mitriya Soha. Om Ahom Pacha Guru Padma Siddhi Hom Se. In our chanting mantra, it has to be clear. So if you stutter, how can you chant mantra? So that's the fault of the seeds. So if you are mute or you're a dumb person, how can you chant mantra? For the mantrayana, you have to chant mantra. So that's the faults of the mantra or the seeds, syllables. And then the fault of the area ambrosia, that's like the body, is being weak. You have no strength. Well, some people can lift up the dumbbells. Why is Grandmaster so short? Because when I was little, I was doing some weightlifting. Then I pushed myself to be so short because it was very heavy. When I was little, I trained in weightlifting. That was really dumb because I like nutrition and I still did some weightlifting. And because of that, my cells now become flattened. So now that's why I'm short. So these are the faults of the area ambrosia. So if you have no strength, you cannot lift it up. And your body is very weak. You need to be strong. Grandmaster's body is very strong. Really. Let me tell you. I'm only 27. How can you say I'm in my 70s? What a joke. One day I will show you. I will let you see. My body is very strong, even stronger than the younger people. Stronger than the... And the faults of the qi are blindness and deafness. So you cannot see, you cannot hear. Of course, that would be impossible for qi practices. Grandmaster never wear eyeglasses, and I never had anything done to my eyes. No surgeries. I just exercise my eyes according to the teachings of my gurus. I can read very clearly even the tiny prints. And posture, Grandmaster's knowledge of posture is also very strong. It's like underwear, you cannot see. That the physical body should be good and the strength should also be good. Then of course you would have attainment in your practice of the inner tantra, channel seeds and light drops and qi. And then some people say that, well, you know, I'll wait till I'm old before I practice Buddhism. How can you do the practice? You're already old. With the flesh, you're old. You're big, and then another one, you'll be old, and another flesh, you'll be gone. Someone went for a fortune teller by looking at their face. And the hoodlum fortune teller said, you would have some disaster. And oh no, and then why don't you just get a big boob girl and sleep? To accompany you sleep for a night, then the disaster would be alleviated. How could that be? Because this is a play of Chinese words. Calamities transform into auspiciousness because calamities transform is like big boobs. But the next day, he still suffered from a lot of wounds and injuries. I followed your instruction and I got 2 girls with big boobs, and see, I still had disasters. Hey, but too many boobs, that would be problematic too. So the fortune tellers is also very boastful. The economy is not good this year. In Taiwan, when we see each other, we always say, "Oh, it's a bad time now." So I want to become an Uber driver. And I pronounce it like a witch. Uber. And this morning, when I left home, my wife was there, and on the way, I got another woman. And then I dropped my wife off first, and then this other woman asked, "So how come that lady earlier didn't pay you?" And I just joked and said, "Oh, because last night she slept at my home, so that's why she can ride for free." And this woman was quiet for a while and then said, and told him that, "Hey, I'm free tonight." And this driver was thinking, if I agree, my waist would hurt. But if I don't agree, then my heart would hurt. So should I accept or not? See? This kind of man that would have some backache, can he practice secret yana or mantra yana? No way. So let me tell you, you shouldn't have backache. And Grandmaster has no backache. I have no problems with my backs and shoulders. I would be 76 according to Taiwanese years next year. And up till today, I have no problems with my shoulders and back. See, I can still lift my arms very straight up. My back and waist are always very good. The most heartwarming news of 2019. Let me. From China, someone from China renovated his house, and after he spent tens of thousands of dollars and discovered that he was renovating somebody else's house. A criminal, the policeman fainted, and the criminal called the police or the ambulance to help him. And someone had hired a room and called 3 women and played mahjong together, and he won $6,000. A woman tried to pass the driving exam and failed 3 times and was invited for dinner. And someone found out that under the pillow they discovered there were cash, but complained that the pillowcase was not changed. And the kids got black, thought he got some kind of illness. That it turned out that it's the dye of the underpants that tainted it. The robber got a lady's purse and then accompanied her home because didn't want to see her walk by herself. A Japanese woman farted and it lit the fire in the operating room. A young boy on the 3rd year of the junior high school was captured inside an elevator, and 3 hours later he had finished his homework. A thief didn't want to be heard, so took off his shoes, and because they smelled so bad that they killed the owner of the house. And the young man was about to commit suicide, and the mother found out and called the police. And the police, in order to prevent him to commit suicide, executed him. In England, for marathon, and he won first prize because the second person ran on the wrong path, followed by the thousands of other people. So that's the ridiculous news of 2019 on Money Pay Me Home.